And sorry, my husband's printing here. Judith asks, can you hear over that?
Yes, we don't hear anything.
Thank you. So Judith mentions that her mophead hydrangeas are leafing out beautifully, but there's no sign of blooms as we enter August. So she pruned out a lot of the old wood earlier in the spring, but there was a severe drought in Massachusetts last summer. So is she just forgetting how late these particular hydrangea bloom, or is there a reason they're going to skip a year or perhaps ever?
They might be later than usual this year because it has been a strange here in Massachusetts. But it could be also that the winter was more unsettled for them because you might be experiencing a Michigan mophead hydrangea year. In Michigan, we rarely get mophead hydrangeas to bloom well. They're blooming well at aces down the street.
Yes, I noticed.
You never even see them most years because most years, either during the winter, the bud at the tip of the branches dries up and dies or gets killed by the cold, or in the spring, they begin to leaf out and that precious top bud that is the part that's old enough that could bloom gets killed back, or somebody prunes it back. So it could be that yours are going to do what they do in Michigan, which is get great leaves, grow great foliage, and then late in the year, low down on the plant, there'll be a few blooms. But that doesn't mean that next year they won't be right back on track, because in most parts of Massachusetts, you can put a mophead blue or pink hydrangea into a drugstore parking lot,
and it grows.
And it grows and blooms just fine. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. Watch it the rest of this year, and continue doing what you've always done to it next year, and it should resume blooming.
Okay, and Suzanne is asking about removing the branches of that rhododendron that showed the canker. Would that be a good preventative?
It would be, in this case, a preventive so that there'd be less spore and less weak branches to cut out the cankered stems. And whenever you're cutting out bad wood, you want to cut below the area where the damage is, not right to it. You want to cut to where when you clip, it's clean wood inside and clean wood on the outside. With some types of problems, particularly the bacterial ones,
there's staining.
The stain will go down 5 or 6 inches, and you need to cut all the way down below there and then disinfect your pruners before you make another cut. It can be laborious, but yes, that's a good way to take care of it. Just like taking the leaves off. So you can say, okay, I've got this problem. I haven't seen this problem before. I'm going to take off all the leaves that have spots, and I'm going to put them in a hot compost, or I'm going to burn them, or I'm going to send them off site to a hot compost, but I'm going to make sure that they aren't around. I'm going to pick up all the ones that are on the ground. You do that with roses. Roses are high maintenance because of that. You not only pluck off a leaf as soon as it looks discolored, even in a small spot, just turning yellow even.
Yeah.
You take the leaf of the rose off, you put it in a bag,
Get it out.
clean your hand, make sure you don't touch the rest of the plant with it, because black spot and a couple of other leaf spots that get on roses are terrible. And you pick up all fallen stuff off the ground, and you cut them back hard in the spring because the cankers on the stems can carry the fungus over. So yes, you can use good hygiene to keep the fungus down. Prefer to use good health.
Yeah.
While we're mentioning roses resist leaf spot and grow back from insect damage quicker if you feed them more heavily. Roses are heavy feeders, and rosarians will tell you
they love to
add fertilizer regularly to roses. They grow rapidly. We ask a lot of them. The thicker and faster their leaves grow and form a cover on themselves, the faster they can protect themselves. Sometimes the roses are just starving, is why they're having so much trouble.
They are heavy feeders.
Okay.
Well, thank you. That's timely, because I know mine certainly need it, and they're doing a great job, but they do have lots of insect bites, so the roses, that's helpful.
Back to your questions now and see what we got.
Okay. So Suzanne Leash mentions, if black spot is on the leaves of a plant in the rose family, will it spread to other plants in the rose family planted close by? Is the fungus in the soil, and should the plants in the rose family be avoided for that area?
The leaves, the black spot that occurs on roses can occur on other plants in the rose family. It generally doesn't become a problem on other plants because it's a fungus that it favors roses. I wouldn't worry about moving away other plants that are in the rose family, but I would be cleaning the roses up better. It doesn't live in the soil, it lives on debris in the soil. So even if a rose leaf was had a spot on it and fell off and laid on the ground and decomposed, it's there. You have to keep picking these leaves up every day. We talked to gardeners at a big estate in England with a huge rose garden.
Well,
And what they do is go out every day. Their first thing that they do each
the
day,
first,
thing, every day, early on, wearing cotton gloves so that they are not going to carry. Why were they wearing cotton gloves? Something about absorbing
there
the
was
water.
something, yeah,
But they pick off all discolored leaves every single morning off of these roses, and roses were gorgeous. But that's kind of what people who want great rose gardens do.